Greetings, fools. I'm Asit Sharma, and I'm joined by fellow senior analyst Jason Moser. Today, we're going to learn about an intriguing company in the vehicle telematics space, Ituran Location and Control. Our guests, who are taping with us remotely from Israel, where Ituran is headquartered, are Eyal Sharatsky, CEO, and Udi Mizrahi, Deputy CEO of International Operations and Vice President of Finance. Gentlemen, welcome to the Motley Fool.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Happy to be here with you guys.
Let's dive right in. Could you describe Ituran to someone who is unfamiliar with the company? Tell us about its primary services and how it makes money.
Okay, Ituran is a world leader in the telematics industry, which provide various of telematic solutions, including product and services. And currently we have more than 2.5 million subscribers worldwide. The services that we provide, as I said, include various, but I will mention the major of them, which is stolen vehicle recovery, which SVR, many connected car solutions such as UBI, usage-based insurance, such as fleet management. And also we provide solutions for financial companies that want to secure their collaterals. And the way we do it, or when we can be found, is or in the aftermarket, or we have also segment of OEM, and that's basically Ituran.
So beyond the core stolen vehicle market, the stolen vehicle recovery market, and fleet management services, which obviously presents a very large market opportunity, where do you see the most significant growth engine for Ituran over the next 3 to say 5 years? And further, should we be taking some clues from the recent deals that you just struck with Yamaha and BMW in the motorcycle space?
Yes, absolutely. I believe that historically we were focused on stolen vehicle recovery and the traditional fleet management. This is something which is continue to be the bread and butter for the business. But the main growth engines, the main drivers for the futures are going to be motorcycles, as we just recently announced two, I think, very luxury deals, one with Yamaha, the second one with BMW. It's important to mention that Latin America too will drivers and cars are a huge market for us. And up until now, it was an untapped market. And I believe that for the next 3 to 5 years, this is really one of the growth engines. The second one is the financial institutions that we learn that by providing them communication with the car and information with the car that they lend the money for, so they can feel more secure, have less problems, less cases. And this is something that we also started with Santander 3 years ago. Santander is a very big international bank. And today and recently, we expanded to other banks in Latin America, which I hope that in the next years, it will be a much bigger segment in Ituran revenues. And the third thing is something that we still, I would say, didn't publish it. It's only in the beginning. It's the Indian market. India is premature in terms of telematics market, but we know that India is close to 1.5 billion people. It's still considered as a third world country, but we know that along the times it's going to be a very important market. So we put the seeds together with our partners there. Recently we signed contract with Daimler, we know international car manufacturer, and I believe that in the future again this will be another growth driver for Ituran.
I'm of Indian extraction, and I can tell you every time that I visit India, that purchasing power is growing. So sounds like that'll be a fun market to play in. I know Jason may have some more questions to ask you about that as we go along.
Absolutely.
I wanted to talk about a rather big deal that Ituran signed in May of this year. This is with the global auto manufacturer Stellantis. So you're concentrated in South America, and Stellantis is a player there. I wondered if you could tell us about this agreement, what it means for your business, and how long-term you expect this to be.
So, first of all, before we talk about Stellantis, Stellantis is a big deal from our perspective because it's a milestone for our offering to the car manufacturers. So we have been working for many, many years with General Motors and with Nissan, and probably, as you know, it takes a lot of time in order to penetrate an additional car manufacturer. So we have been working strongly for the last 2 years, negotiating in order to implement this deal. Stellantis is, we managed to put the foot in the door. So we are going to provide stolen vehicle recovery, basic services, but that means that now in the near future, we would like to offer additional service, such as full connected car solutions, such as renewals offering, those kind of things that can help and penetrate the car manufacturer more and more. But not only that, we did it in several countries. Of course, we believe that this may bring to continuous, discussions with other car manufacturers in order to provide our services and offer our services to them. It's important, and I think, maybe just to talk about it for a second, I think there is a main reason, I would say, why car manufacturers like it to run or choose it to run in the end of the day. Because in addition of the experience of, I would say, more than 20 years working with car manufacturers with the highest quality as we should by working with the car manufacturers standards, in addition to that, Ituran has presence all over Latin America. That's a huge advantage to the car manufacturers. So that's another big thing for us, or big advantage for us. And of course, in addition of having all, I would say, our services and know-how, that gives us the ability to hope and see that in the near future, we may be with additional car manufacturers as well.
Udi, I'd like to ask you a little bit about how this affects gross margin, or how the subscriptions with Stellantis work out over the long term. Because as I understand, it's a pretty wide base of customers that you have access to. Is this something that will immediately impact your gross margins, or that will take some time?
So Stellantis deal is focusing, as of now, on stolen vehicle recovery services mainly, which that means lower ARPU. But on the other end, it's important to say, especially as a subscriber-based model company, this is marginal. So that means that the margin on this transaction is good for it to run.
Yeah, I want to go back to India if we can. I'm glad that you brought that up because obviously that represents a large market opportunity for a lot of companies out there. How does the company work to establish a position in that market? You talked about how sort of immature the market still is, right? It's still just developing, but how do you work to establish a position in that market, and what are the opportunities and the challenges involved with that?
Okay, so actually we decide, since the market is huge, and we wanted to go with the right partner that can bring us faster and stronger to the market. So we created a joint venture with a company called Lumax. Lumax is the largest car integrator, working with all the OEMs in India, has I would say hundreds of plants and production line that he is involved with. So they provide us the awareness, they provide us the market. We brought our know-how, our technology, and I think that this is the win-win solution for us to come to this amazing and big country. So this is how we work. They bring the customers, they bring the awareness, and we come with our solutions. So as I said, although they are very, very with their boots on the ground for many years, still the market need education.
Yeah.
So we are now at this phase. So we started to do it through those car international brand. We started with Daimler, we know it as Mercedes brand, and we start with their commercial cars, commercial vehicles line, and we just signed the contract and start install our Ituran solutions in India in this specific brand. Of course, it's only the beginning, but once it start spreading around the roads, it will bring more and more OEM companies that will want to copy it or will understand that it's worth to pay for it. And then after we will be enough market share among the OEM, among the product lines, we will then start to promote it in the second level, which is the aftermarket, the dealers, the fleets. Today it's too early to go to the aftermarket because of two reasons. First of all, the market is not yet understand the values. We want to show the values. Second is, I would say, the prices, which still we have to, again, to educate the market, what are the value, and that they will want to pay the prices that will make it effective for us. But as I said, we go step by step, but the last milestone, which is signed with Daimler, after a few years, by the way, of starting all this process, I think that it's a very important milestone and will be promising the future for us in India.
Yeah, I think that's a very sensible strategy. I mean, it's something we see a lot of companies do these days when they're looking to expand globally, rather than taking that on all themselves, partnering up with other entities that are maybe a little bit more familiar with the culture and how business is done.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's a really great way to do it. You've seen Starbucks, for example, do the same thing. So you guys are in good company, I'd say.
By the way, we have a lot of, I would say, experience with expand our business to new geographies, and we learned that each geography, each area has different mentality, and the drivers and the needs are different. So
Yeah.
if you start by yourself, your learning curve, it's much longer. Although India is a longer visit, a longer trip that we're going to have, but still, this will make it easier and faster.
Yeah, the size of the market opportunity, you can't pass that up. Speaking of big market opportunities, I know Brazil is your largest market outside of Israel. Could you break down the current competitive landscape there and maybe talk a little bit about how you defend your market share against local competitors there in Brazil?
Yes, as you mentioned, Brazil, it's a mass market. It's a huge market, and the opportunity, of course, is big. We have been in Brazil since the year of 2000, and we have been the market leaders for the telematics offering and services that we provide. I would say that there are several reasons for our competitive advantage for, comparing to our competitors. So first of all, state-of-the-art technology. I mean, we have been developing for many, many years. Our R&D team, we spend around 5% of our revenues just in R&D. So we are trying to be ahead of the market all the time, and it works. Second is, as I mentioned before, is the presence. We have the presence in many countries, so also Brazil, it helps a lot in that aspect. Third, I would say, a lot of people always talking about, we are a service company, technological company with many, many things, but in our business, the operational know-how is crucial. And that's a know-how that we managed to gain and achieve for, I would say, 30 years. By the way, this year we are celebrating 30 years since the inception of Ituran.
Oh, wow.
So 30 years of
Congratulations.
gathering information, getting all the information. In the end, it leads to a higher rates of recovery and confidence of our customers in the Ituran service. And this is something which is not easy to imitate or easy to do. It takes a lot of time to get there. Another thing is, of course, the strong cash balance that we have. I think, in Brazil, it's important to mention, usually the business model is what we call comodato. It's not like a one-time selling method of the device. It's like a free lease of the device. That means that if you're, for example, a customer wants 10,000 units for himself, then it means that you need to finance. You need to bring a lot of money to buy all the units and do everything. So Ituran has a very, very strong cash flow or cash balance. So that helps us also to make big transactions and big deals. Those kind of things kept us, and I will believe will keep us as the market leaders in Brazil for many, many years.
So thinking about being in business for 30 years and having a market advantage, I was curious, as you sort of strike this balance between being somewhat a mature company, but also in growth mode, how do you structure your sales function? I wondered if you could tell our listeners a little bit about your sales strategy. Is it a lot of direct sales? Do you have channel partners that you work with, a mix of both?
So I think that we are combining everything. Some of the segments we are using channels. Some of the segment, of course, we are using our own and direct sales. What we have, just to give an example, so for example, in Brazil, by the way, since we have a lot of B2C segment, Ituran Conseguro, which is a solution that we sell to the direct car owners that want to buy insurance with monitoring services. So for them, for example, we have more than 10,000 entries a day to our website. So with the right conversion rate, this is how we achieve those deals. And this is a typical B2C channel. We have the OEM segment, which is the international brand. So then it's a one-on-one. We have to convince, board of directors. We have to convince marketing department, purchase department. So this is done without really high unit of salespeople. It's done by VPs and, as you know, one-on-one. We have the distributors, which can be car dealers. It can be electronic shops for cars. It can be two-wheel, motorcycles, dealers, or shops. So this is, again, another strategy we use. We do it with our own representatives, create those relationships and meetings. And we have another strong channel which is not require a lot of salespeople, which is the insurance. So once we provide insurance, the understanding and the confidence that with Ituran solution, it will reduce the claims, the insurance claims of car theft. So by doing this, when they issue their policy to their customers, they're all mandating or provide discounts, so they become kind of our salespeople, and this is a channel. So this is how we promote and sell our product. We have various of ways, and we customize each segment with the right sales strategy.
It sounds very efficient on every front to me.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I think, one of the more attractive parts of your business is you bring in a lot of data, right? How are you leveraging this massive amount of data that you collect from your subscribers' vehicles, and what specific monetization strategies do you have in place with all that data in mind?
I'm very happy for this question because the big data aspect in Ituran until recently wasn't part of the delivery that we did, or we decide to focus on. But recently, in the last 2-3 years, we put a lot of attention in terms of R&D, in terms of collecting the data, and we realized that there is a lot of interest. And I just give you an example. And Israel is a good example currently because we have more than 1 million cars in the roads that has real-time data. Every minute, every second, something happen, and our systems collect this data anonymously, of course, with all the legal perspectives. But this data, even anonymous, is worth a lot to many interest parties. As an example, recently we sold a data which is only 1 month for one road for an amount of hundreds of thousands of dollars, because this municipal authority of roads here in Tel Aviv area wanted to know a specific route when it's the most heavy traffics, who is driving there, because they want to know, maybe to create new roads next to it, or to offer some coupons for people from specific areas. They're willing to pay for it. Another discussions that we have is commercial malls. Commercial malls want to know specific models of car with from a high or wealthy, kind of wealthy people, that they can offer them something because they know that they are this specific car, let's say a Mercedes 500S, anonymously. How many of them is driving not very far, so they can call them for a coffee or for a sales program or something, and they're willing to pay for us. And also we can go to governmental needs, etc. So the big data today that we have, historically and online, is a fortune. So now we started, and we will continue, and also we will export it with the other 1.5 million cars that we have in Latin America. I hope that in the next years it will increase, and every car is a data. Every driver is a data, again, anonymously, but it's a very important data, and we count on it to create revenues from it. Yes, absolutely. We just started.
Sounds like that could be a very lucrative revenue stream in the future as you go on. And I know you dabble in insurance, but it sounds like other insurance parties would have a lot of interest in this data.
Absolutely. For example, insurance companies, when they decide actuaric, what is the risk for specific car in a specific area? Yeah. So if there is a lot of bumpers and a lot of accidents, it's like areas where there is a lot of car theft. And it's something that we can show, because every car today with Ituran, let's call black box, has a notification, accident notification, okay, or G notification, and this gives a lot of data, whether its area is risky, those drivers are risky, etc. So absolutely, you're right.
So I want to go back to something that Udi alluded to, which is very close to my heart. I love a strong balance sheet. I love a clean balance sheet.
We all do.
Yes.
Not all. We like it.
You obviously do. You all have paid down your long-term debt to zero, and we see a very nice working capital position on the books. So naturally, I think Jason and I are both curious, are there any strategic acquisitions on the horizon? And if so, what type of company or what type of technology might make sense to improve Ituran's offerings, if any?
So, first of all, you really touched the point that although we pay, I would say, a high dividend yield, and it's a very common that we pay dividends, but it's important for me to remind that around 2018, 2019, we did an acquisition of Roadtrack, our OEM leg, let's call it. We now consolidate a very important OEM customers. So this was the first important issue, and this is the same today. Acquisition is something that we understand that it's an unorganic growth supporter, and we want to do it. As long as we are not having something critical, we, of course, paying the dividend, but this is something that we look for. What are the target companies that we are looking for? I think that we can divide it to 2 or maybe 3 target areas. One is new geographies. New geographies, it means that instead of do it organically, start from scratch, and it takes 2-3 years to become break-even, we can use our balance sheet and do it faster by acquisition, whether it will be in other countries in Latin America whether it be in North America, etc. So this is one thing that we're looking for. A telematics company that works in different geography. The second one is a company that deals maybe in the same geography, but can expand our offering, kind of a sales up. I mean, if we can go to our 2.5 million subscribers and offer another application, which for us to develop it, it will take more years. We will not be as focused as this specific acquisition target. So this is the second one. I mean, different technology, additional offering, of course, in the telematics area, in the car communication area. And the third target area is something that can create synergy. And in that case, it's mainly companies in the geographies that we are already operated, such as in Brazil, there are other companies that have specific areas in Brazil which we are less focused, less strong. So for us, or different, for example, OEM deals that they have. So by acquiring them, we can create high synergy because our, I would say, our corporate offices, our management, our technology can be create lower expenses by this synergy and expand the customer base. So this is the three target areas that we're looking for. But I must add something. We are not paying every price. We have the price that we think that from a financial point of view, it should be something that is also smart and efficient for the shareholders of Ituran.
Well, as you all are aware, I'm sure AI is permeating every conversation today, whether it's investing, it's business, it's education, it's everywhere, right? AI is just a big key focus for businesses everywhere. And I'm just curious, how does Ituran use AI not only externally with your customers, but also internally? So how do you use it with telematics, but then also how do you use it within your own business to operate better?
Okay, so we use the AI absolutely for the two sides of the business. In terms of what we can be or what we can do in terms of the service and the solution that we offer. And second, how we internally can or save costs or be more efficient. So regard the offer that we put outside, so I can give you an example, like the stolen vehicle recovery. We have to understand that the car thieves are very, very sophisticated, specifically in countries like Israel and countries like Brazil. So by adding AI solutions to our end units, to our back office software, it allows us, for example, to know where the car is being stolen, even before the car owners know it, and even if the device was blocked, for example, by jammers. How we do it? We call it routine, and we also have already routine 3, routine 4, we improve it always. It means that if a car, again, that we anonymously collect the data every second, if a car went out, let's say, around midnight, and this guy never, or once a month, at the worst case, he goes with the car out at midnight, it means that something not normally happened with the car. Even if somebody jumped our system, we know only from a very narrow band the car went out, we call the owner, we send our people, sometimes we call there is blocks between Israel and the Palestinians area, etc. And this is something that improved dramatically our rate of recovery. This example for the services. On the other side, when I'm talking about how we are efficient, so Ituran is a service-oriented company. We are working 24/7, and we have hundreds of people that are a kind of a company representatives, deals always a real-time car theft events, so we call it a control center. We have customer service with these millions of customers that they have to talk. So we change, or we start change, and we are in a process to change it to, as you know, based on AI, to automatic answers answers that know to forecast the needs of these customers or this car. And by that, by the way, we didn't save, but we allow ourselves to be more efficient with less people, provide better service. But I'm quite sure, and we have our plans to increase both sides based on AI, because we cannot eliminate the advantages, and it's huge advantages for our business.
We'd like to wrap up by looking ahead a little bit as we think about the future. I think everyone would be curious to know, what are the greatest challenges for Ituran, and also what are your most fruitful opportunities? And let's talk about the next 3 to 5 year time frame and beyond.
So I think that we touch it a little bit, but I will try to make it more wide data. So as I said, the 3 to 5 years, it's not a longer term. We are there already. So we just started, as I said, we have the motorcycles, which is something that we always had in mind, but we didn't really execute it because the motorcycle has some problems. Don't forget, it's not a four-wheel drive cars that you can hide the units. There is a lot of noises near the motorcycles. People go through, people touch it. It's not as sterilic as a car. So we try to do something, but recently we get the right unit. This is allow OEM players to trust us, and this only the beginning. So for the next 3 to 5 years, I really believe that this is going to be a major part of our growth. The second one is the financial institutions. We started with Santander. It took a little bit more time until this was stabilized. But recently, after Santander, it spread around first in Brazil, and also recently we have some talks in Mexico. Santander, by the way, it's also an international brand, so we can leverage to other markets. So financial institution that lend money for people to buy cars. And this is something that grow in Latin America. In the past, it was very common in the States, but in countries like Brazil, Mexico, it's something that become in the last, I would say, decade, much more popular. And those guys losing money for people that having a problem to pay the installments, for example. So by having a solution of telematics, they can control their collateral. And I really believe that, again, this is going to be something that will contribute to our 3 to 5 years growth. And the third one is the OEM. Although we started with acquisition, and this is a good example how acquisition can create growth, which start as a non-organic growth, but today, as part of Ituran, we have more deals, more interest, such as Stellantis that we just a few months ago reported. By the way, when we report it is the moment that we sign the first contract. Stellantis by itself has a lot of potential for us for other segments internally in Stellantis, different models, different type of services. Now we have, or at least we are aiming new brands, which I believe, truly believe, based on discussions, that we will have additional in the future. And this OEM channel, these OEM customers will increase and will allow us to grow again in the next 3 to 5 years more than in the past. So this is the three main aspects.
Well, Eyal Sheratzky and Udi Mizrahi, thank you for your time today in helping us learn about Ituran, a very promising company that after 30 years still seems to be in the early stages of its growth curve. We'll look forward to checking in with you again in the future. On behalf of Jason Moser and our team behind the glass today, Fool on.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.